The vast emptiness of space stretched before Jay Kim like a bottomless midnight ocean. The Horizon's navigation systems hummed softly, casting a pale blue glow across the control deck. Routine sensor sweeps had become mind-numbing after 6 months of deep space exploration, but something felt different today. A faint electronic chirp interrupted the ambient silence. Jay's fingers danced across the holographic display, zooming into a distant anomaly that flickered at the edge of their long-range scanners. Most pilots would have dismissed it as space debris or a sensor glitch, but something in Jay's gut told him this was different. "Computer-enhanced Sector 7 Gamma," he muttered, leaning closer to the display. The anomaly transformed from a tiny pixel into a massive, critically damaged spacecraft. Its hull was torn open like a piece of paper, ripped by an invisible hand, exposing intricate technological systems that definitely weren't human design. Silvery blue metallic fragments drifted like wounded butterflies against the black backdrop of space. Jay's training kicked in. Standard protocol demanded maintaining a safe distance, running comprehensive scans and waiting for headquarters authorization. But something about the alien vessel's desperate conditions screamed urgency. "Crew emergency status," he announced through the ship's communication system. "Prepare for potential rescue operation." Within minutes, the Horizon's rescue teams were suiting up. Advanced environmental suits lined with adaptive nanotechnology would protect them from potential biological or atmospheric risks. Rescue equipment, including specialized cutting tools and emergency medical kits, were carefully packed. As they approached the damaged vessel, the scale became more apparent. This wasn't just a small craft. It was a research vessel easily 3 times the size of the Horizon. Intricate external designs suggested a civilization far more advanced than human technology, with smooth curves and symmetrical patterns that seemed to defy traditional engineering principles. Proximity sensors began detecting life signs. Weak, but definitely present. Multiple biological signatures detected, the ship's AI reported. Species classification unknown. Biochemical composition partially compatible with human environmental parameters. Jay's heart raced. First contact scenarios were carefully documented in space exploration training, but nothing prepared you for the actual moment. Every decision could potentially alter human-alien relations forever. The rescue pod detached from the Horizon, its protective energy shields activated. Specialized robotic arms extended, carefully cutting through the alien ship's damaged exterior. The precision was surgical, each movement calculated to minimize potential damage or risks. Inside the alien vessel, a world of otherworldly technology greeted them. Curved corridors lined with bioluminescent panels pulsed with soft, rhythmic light. Strange organic-looking interfaces seemed to breathe and shift, responding to the human team's presence. "Incredible," whispered Dr. Elena Rodriguez, the mission's lead xenobiologist. Her scanning equipment worked overtime, collecting every possible data point. These systems, they're almost alive. 5 alien survivors were discovered in a central chamber, each connected to complex life support systems. Their bodies were humanoid but distinctly different, slender, with iridescent skin that seemed to change color subtly with each breath. Delicate neural interface cables connected them to what appeared to be a central research database. The rescue was delicate. Each movement required extreme caution. One wrong step could potentially kill these alien beings or compromise their complex life support systems. As the first survivor was carefully transferred to the Horizon's medical bay, something unexpected happened. A holographic interface activated, projecting a complex series of geometric patterns and soft, almost musical tones. "Communication attempt detected," the ship's AI announced. "Translation protocols initializing." Jay watched in stunned silence. This wasn't just a rescue mission anymore. This was potentially the most significant moment in human exploratory history. The alien's eyes flickered open, large, deep green with multiple pupils that adjusted rapidly to the light. For a moment, human and alien locked gazes, a connection that transcended language, technology, or known understanding. And in that moment, Jay knew their mission had changed forever. End of Part 1. The medical bay of the horizon hummed with a tense energy. Sophisticated medical holographs danced around the alien survivors, displaying complex biological data that challenged everything Dr. Hyde Park understood about life and physiology. Kiro, the lead alien survivor, slowly regained consciousness. His iridescent skin shifted between soft blues and muted greens, a biological response to the unfamiliar environment. Medical sensors indicated he was communicating through subtle electromagnetic pulses rather than traditional sound waves. Fascinating, Hai whispered, adjusting her neural interface translator. The device was experimental, designed to interpret complex biological communication patterns. Most xenobiologists would have considered this impossible, but Hai had always been different. A sudden burst of holographic data erupted from Kiro's neural implant. Complex geometric patterns and rapid color shifts translated into fragmented information. Images of destruction, pursuit, and a desperate escape flickered like a broken transmission. "They're running from something," Jay observed, studying the holographic display. "Something big enough to completely destroy their entire research expedition." The ship's AI began processing the incoming data. Fragments of star charts, technological schematics, and what appeared to be biological weapon designs started assembling like a complex digital puzzle. Kiro's hand, more like a series of interconnected, biomechanical tendrils, reached out and touched Hai's communication device. Instantly, a flood of information surged through the system. The Folk, a predatory technological civilization, had been hunting the Nara, Kiro's species, for decades. Their research, Hai translated, could prevent a technological genocide. The medical bay transformed into a complex information hub. Holographic displays showed massive starship battles, advanced weaponry that seemed to blur the line between technology and living organisms. The Folk weren't just a military force, they were a civilization that consumed and assimilated other technological cultures. Kiro's species, the Nara, were researchers. Their entire civilization was built around understanding and preserving technological knowledge, but the Folk saw them as nothing more than a resource to be harvested and destroyed. "We carry the genetic memory of 1,000 civilizations," Kiro communicated through the translator. His voice sounded like a mixture of musical tones and electrical pulses. "If the Volk capture us, centuries of collective knowledge will be lost forever." Jay realized this was more than a simple rescue mission. They were now guardians of potentially the most valuable scientific repository in the known galaxy. The ship's tactical systems began analyzing the incoming data. Star charts revealed complex migration patterns, hidden research outposts, and potential escape routes. The Nara had been running for generations, always one step ahead of total destruction. "How many of your people remain?" Jay asked, his hand instinctively touching the tactical display. Kiro's response was heartbreaking. Less than 5,000 Nara researchers remained, scattered across multiple hidden research stations. Each carried fragments of their collective knowledge, waiting to be reunited. Dr. Park noticed something extraordinary. The Nara's biological systems were unlike anything in known scientific understanding. Their neural networks could store and process information at speeds that would make human supercomputers look like ancient calculators. Their entire civilization is essentially a living, mobile research database, she explained to the crew. Each individual is both a researcher and a living archive. Suddenly, the ship's long-range sensors detected something. Multiple massive energy signatures were approaching. The Folk were close. Their pursuit hadn't ended with the destruction of Kiro's research vessel. Jay's tactical training kicked in. They were surrounded, outnumbered, and carrying the most valuable cargo in the galaxy. A standard military vessel would surrender or retreat, but the Horizon was no standard ship, and Jay was no standard captain. "Prepare for potential engagement," he announced. The crew knew this wasn't just a mission anymore. This was about survival, both human and Nara. Kiro's electromagnetic pulses suggested a mix of hope and fear. His entire civilization's future now depended on a human exploration vessel and a crew that had accidentally stumbled into the biggest scientific rescue mission in galactic history. The stars outside seemed to hold their breath, waiting for what would come next. End of Part 2. The Horizon's command deck buzzed with an electric tension. Holographic tactical displays flickered with incoming Volk fleet signatures, each massive warship representing an existential threat to the Nara survivors. J. Kim stood at the center of a rapidly evolving battle plan. Daniel Lee, the ship's tactical officer, ran complex computational scenarios that seemed to defy traditional military strategy. The Nara scientists worked alongside the human crew, their bioneural interfaces creating a hybrid intelligence unlike anything seen before. "We're outnumbered 10 to 1, Daniel muttered, manipulating holographic fleet projections. "Conventional tactics give us less than a 3% survival probability." Kiro's electromagnetic pulses translated into a surprising suggestion. The Nara's research revealed a critical vulnerability in Volk fleet communication systems, a microscopic, quantum entanglement weakness that could potentially disrupt their entire network. The strategy began to take shape. The Horizon would become deliberate bait, drawing the Volk fleet into a carefully constructed trap. It wasn't just about fighting, it was about outsmarting an enemy with superior technological capabilities. Chai Park's research team discovered something extraordinary. The Nara's biological data storage could be transformed into a sophisticated electronic warfare weapon. By carefully modulating their neural frequencies, they could create a massive electromagnetic pulse capable of temporarily disabling advanced technological systems. "It's like turning their own technology against them," Hai explained, her eyes sparkling with scientific excitement. "We're not just fighting, we're reprogramming the battlefield itself." The ship's engineering team worked frantically. Standard human propulsion systems were modified with Nara quantum displacement technology. Stealth capabilities were enhanced beyond anything the Volk had encountered. They were transforming an exploration vessel into the most sophisticated combat platform in the galaxy. Jay understood the stakes. This wasn't just about saving the Nara survivors. This was about protecting an entire civilization's accumulated knowledge. Each Nara carried genetic memories of thousands of technological innovations. Losing them would be like burning a universal library. Tactical simulations ran continuously. The Volk fleet approached, massive technological predators, designed for total annihilation. Their weapons could crack planetary crusts. Their ships were living machines that consumed entire civilizations. "We'll use their own aggression against them," Jay explained to his crew. "They expect us to run. We're going to make them chase us into a trap they can't even comprehend." The plan was audacious. The Horizon would create multiple quantum-displaced mirror images of itself, confusing Volk tracking systems. Each image would carry a specific electromagnetic signature designed to draw their most advanced hunter vessels into a precise geometric formation. Kiro's neural interface began synchronizing with the ship's systems. His biological, computational abilities allowed for calculations that would take human supercomputers centuries to complete. It was a perfect fusion of human creativity and Nara technological understanding. The probability of success is approximately 22.7%, the ship's AI reported. Most crews would have considered this hopeless, but this wasn't a standard crew. Daniel Lee began preparing combat sequences. Weapon systems that were designed for exploration were now being reconfigured into precision strike platforms. Laser coherence technologies merged with Nara quantum disruption frequencies. The first Volk scout ships appeared on long-range sensors, massive technological nightmares that seemed to blur the line between living organism and machine. Their hull designs suggested they could consume and repurpose entire spacecraft mid-battle. "Initiating quantum displacement sequence," the ship's computer announced. The Horizon began to shimmer, multiple versions of itself appearing and disappearing across the tactical display. It was no longer just a spacecraft. It had become a living, thinking weapon. Kiro's final communication was both a warning and a hope. They will not expect what comes next. Outside, the darkness of space prepared to become a battlefield where the impossible would become reality. The trap was set. The hunters were about to become the hunted. End of Part 3. The first wave of Volk warships tore through space like metal predators, their biomechanical hulls pulsing with destructive energy. The horizon shimmered, not with fear but with calculated preparation. Jay's hands moved across the tactical interface with surgical precision. Every quantum-displaced image of the ship represented a carefully planned misdirection. The Folk Hunter vessels began splitting their attack formations, confused by the multiple projected targets. Electromagnetic disruption sequence initiated, Daniel announced, his voice calm despite the incoming storm of technological destruction. Cairo stood beside High, his bio-neural interface connecting directly with the ship's core systems. Streams of quantum data flowed like liquid light, transforming the Horizon from a simple exploration vessel into the most sophisticated combat platform in galactic history. The first Volk energy weapons struck, massive plasma bursts that could vaporize entire planetary defense networks slammed into the Horizon's quantum-shielded hull. But something unexpected happened. Instead of destruction, the energy seemed to flow around the ship, redirected by impossible quantum mechanics. "They're using our own technological understanding against them," High whispered, watching the tactical display with scientific fascination. The battlefield became a complex dance of light and energy. Quantum-displaced ship images created impossible tracking challenges for the Volk. Each time they targeted what seemed like the Horizon, the ship would momentarily phase out of existence, only to reappear in a completely unexpected location. Jay understood the true nature of their strategy. They weren't just fighting. They were teaching the Folk a fundamental lesson about adaptability. Human creativity combined with Nara technological understanding created something entirely unpredictable. Massive Volk hunter vessels began experiencing systemic failures. Their advanced tracking systems couldn't compute the Horizon's impossible movements. Biological mechanical interfaces started breaking down, confused by quantum disruption frequencies they'd never encountered. Primary attack vector compromised, the ship's AI reported. But this was more than a computer reporting. It was a living system adapting in real time. Kiro's neural patterns began synchronizing with the ship's core systems. His biological computational abilities allowed for calculations that would take standard computers millennia to complete. The Nara were transforming the entire battlefield into a complex, living computation. Sudden explosive decompression erupted. Across multiple Volk vessels, their own weapons were being turned against their complex technological networks. It wasn't just a battle, it was a complete systemic collapse. "We're drawing them into the quantum disruption zone," Jay explained to his crew. Each movement was calculated, each quantum displacement a precise mathematical dance. The sacrifice became clear. The Horizon was deliberately exposing itself, drawing maximum Volk firepower to protect the precious Nara survivors. Their research, their genetic memories, their entire civilization's knowledge would survive. Daniel's tactical displays showed something extraordinary. They weren't just defending, they were systematically dismantling the most advanced technological hunter fleet in known space. Human determination mixed with Nara technological understanding created something truly unprecedented. Massive energy exchanges transformed the surrounding space into a light show of unprecedented complexity. Volk ships began breaking apart, their advanced technological systems fundamentally confused by quantum manipulation they couldn't comprehend. Hull integrity at 37%, the ship's AI reported. But there was no fear in the report, just pure, calculated adaptation. Jay understood the cost. They were trading the Horizon's structural integrity for the survival of an entire civilization's accumulated knowledge. Each quantum displacement, each redirected energy weapon was a calculated sacrifice. The final assault came. Concentrated. Volk energy weapons that could crack planetary crusts focused entirely on the Horizon. But instead of destruction, something miraculous happened. The ship's quantum shields transformed the incoming energy, redirecting it back into the attacking vessels. Kiro's final neural transmission was both a warning and a celebration. The Volk weren't just being defeated, they were being fundamentally rewritten. As the last Volk hunter vessel disintegrated, the Horizon stood, damaged but unbroken, a testament to human determination and alien technological understanding. They had done the impossible. End of Part 4. The aftermath of the battle transformed the surrounding space into a complex canvas of debris and quantum echoes. The horizon drifted, its hull scarred but unbroken, a symbol of survival against impossible odds. Galactic communication networks began lighting up. News of the unprecedented victory spread faster than light itself. The folk, a civilization believed to be invincible, had been defeated by a single exploration vessel and a handful of alien survivors. Cairo's neural interfaces began reconstructing the massive database of lost civilizations. Billions of terabytes of accumulated knowledge, preserved through generations of careful research, now found a new sanctuary. Each data stream was like a whispered story of survival, of hope rescued from the brink of total destruction. We're receiving transmission requests from multiple galactic councils, Daniel reported, his fingers dancing across communication interfaces. Star systems that had remained silent for generations were suddenly reaching out. Chi Park's research team discovered something extraordinary. The quantum disruption techniques used during the battle weren't just a weapon, they were a breakthrough in interstellar communication and energy manipulation. Universities across human-controlled space began analyzing every millisecond of the FAMT encounter. Jay understood the true significance of their mission. This wasn't just a rescue, it was a fundamental reimagining of technological understanding. The Nara's knowledge, combined with human adaptability, created something entirely new. Repair. Drones swarmed across the horizon's damaged hull. Sophisticated nanotechnological systems worked to reconstruct critical systems. But these weren't just repairs, they were a fusion of human engineering and Nara biotechnological understanding. Estimated full system restoration, 72 hours, the ship's AI announced. But there was something different in its tone, almost a sense of pride. The surviving Nara researchers began integrating with human scientific teams. Their biological data storage capabilities transformed research facilities overnight. Problems that had seemed impossible suddenly became solvable challenges. Diplomatic channels across multiple star systems began lighting up. The story of the Horizons battle spread like a quantum wave, a testament to what could be achieved through unexpected cooperation. Cairo's people, once on the verge of total extinction, now found themselves at the center of a galactic renaissance. Their accumulated knowledge, preserved through generations of careful research, was now a beacon of hope. We're receiving requests for technological exchange from over 237 different star systems, Daniel reported, his eyes wide with disbelief. Quantum disruption techniques developed during the battle became a new field of scientific study. Research facilities across human-controlled space began dissecting every moment of the encounter. What had seemed like a desperate survival strategy was now being viewed as a fundamental breakthrough in interstellar technology. Jay found himself at the center of a transformation he could never have imagined. The simple exploration mission had become a pivotal moment in galactic history. Humans were no longer seen as just another spacefaring civilization. They were now viewed as innovative problem solvers capable of the impossible. Nara researchers began working alongside human scientific teams. Their biological computational abilities merged with human creativity, created research breakthroughs that transformed multiple scientific disciplines. Medical technologies, energy production, communication systems, nothing would be the same. The Horizon, once a simple exploration vessel, became a symbol of hope. Museums would be built, academic papers would be written, children would learn about the moment when everything changed. We're more than just survivors, Cairo communicated through his neural interface. We're the beginning of something entirely. New diplomatic delegations from across the galaxy began requesting meetings. The story of the Horizons battle against the Volk had transformed the understanding of technological warfare, interspecies cooperation, and the nature of survival itself. Chi Park realized they had done more than save a civilization. They had opened a new chapter in galactic understanding. The boundaries between species, between technology and biology, were being rewritten in real time. As the Horizon began its journey back to human-controlled space, something fundamental had changed. They were carrying more than just survivors and research data. They were carrying the promise of a new future. The stars themselves seemed to shine a little brighter. End of Part 5.